Well, welcome back to the channel, guys, and today we have been sent a head unit from Eonon. Now this is the Eonon VWX7 and we're going to install it into our VW EOS. We're Mark and V and this is our adventures. But I thought first of all what we'll do is we'll unbox it on my desk, show you all the components before we actually go down into the car and start to do the install. So let's just open him up and see what we got in here. I'm going to move the box to the side and we'll have a look at each individual part first of all. And we'll try and tell you some information about the head unit as we're going through. Now this is a 9-inch IPS touchscreen. It's got a resolution of 1280 by 720. It's an anti-glare screen and it's got a viewing angle of 178 degrees. So pretty much you can see it from all around in the front of the car. Obviously in a convertible car, glare can be a huge issue. So be interesting to see what that's like. Well, I was going to tell you about it. Well, the unit, it runs Android 14. It's got a quad-core RK3562 chip in it. It's got 3 gig of memory. And it's got a 32 gig ROM. And apparently it will boot in 1 second. That's the screen, so you can see the screen. You can see, long gone are the days when head units used to be big bulky items. Because they're like tablets now, that's all it needs to be, isn't it? So you've got all your wire and harness connections there and there. I would assume that's your GPS connection, and there's your aerial connection. You can see there's a fan built in as well to keep the unit cool. Obviously, being a processor there, it needs to be cooled. So it looks quite nice, I think. It looks very, very similar to the one we got in our Chiron, which is a slightly different model. But and we really like that one, so hopefully we'll like this as well. So that's the head unit. And then we have a second box and some booklets. So what do we have here? This is the connection pinouts. So you can see all the instructions, so I'm just going to hold that up to the camera above us. We have a user manual. It's got a little QR code there. Let's get my phone and see where the QR code goes. That's probably to the user manual as well. Well, that takes us off to Eonon support. We've got a user manual, installation manual. Yeah, pretty good. And obviously when we look through here, it tells you about the radio, CarPlay, Android Auto, screen mirroring, ODB, backup camera, steering wheel controls, subwoofer, and the GPS antenna. Then it goes into settings. And we'll be going through all this as we install the head unit in the car. Now let's have a look and see what we got here. Okay, so we'll empty it all out and then we'll have a look at it. Okay, we'll start with that one. And that's our GPS puck. That is the microphone for making phone calls. Microphones are getting so much better as well, aren't they? Just always finding a really nice location for them to sit in the car. But yeah, plenty of cable there, so that shouldn't be an issue. Spare fuse and a sticky pad. What's this one? So this is the rear camera. Now, the EOS is a convertible, so we're not going to be able to fit the camera. And I'll show you why when we're doing the installation. I'll show you what the reason we can't install the camera. However, it won't go in the rear windscreen. Just a camera, harness, and of course when you mount a reversing camera, to make it work as a reversing camera, you need the power to come from the reversing lights. It's quite simple to do, but you need to think about the reasoning, and you don't want the camera to come on unless you're reversing, do you? So when you put your car in reverse, your reversing lights come on. So you've got power going to your lights. So if you take the power lead and tap off into the power of this one, then that's how you power your reversing camera only when you're reversing. It's quite simple actually, but sometimes it's just a little bit hard to find the right cable. So that's our reversing camera. And then this looks to be the main wiring harness. So let's see if it's one unit or lots of units. Right, so it's one main unit. That's the harness that goes into the car. That's where it goes into the car. And then all this will plug in to the head unit, GPS, amplifier if you've got an amplifier. A lot of people ask, can you connect an amplifier when you fit in these? And this will go off to the amplifier, so you can do that if you want to. We won't be fitting an amplifier. Now, looking at the audio's got a built-in digital signal processor, and it's got a 4-channel power amplifier, which is 4 by 45 watts maximum output. The preamp, it's got a 5-channel preamp output, included a dedicated subwoofer output, so that you can put an amplifier onto it and bigger speakers if that's what you want. So there you are, there's the cables. We have USB to USB inputs, 3 USB inputs. So lots of things you can connect. It's Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Now, currently, I have an iPhone. Tomorrow, I'm moving back to Android. So we'll be able to show you them both. So there you are. That is pretty much all of it on the bench, on the desk. Show you what we got. And here we are in the car, and obviously this is the original VW stereo. Obviously it's very in keeping with this age of VW, but we really want something to get a lot nicer. As you can see on the steering wheel, if I bring you over to the steering wheel, you can see we got controls on the steering wheel, and hopefully the unit is going to work with that as well. So the next step is to remove this unit, which is quite easy. I'll take you through the steps, and then we'll start installing the new unit. Okay, so what we're going to do is, the first thing you need is a trim tool. I've got 2. Use a small edge just to find an entry point. So just look around till we can find somewhere. I'm just going to, it's still on, isn't it? There you go, let's let this off. So we just go around until we can find an entry point. Sometimes it's quite easy, but this is very, very important that you don't go too carried away, because you could end up damaging it. There you are. So I've got an entry point. So just leave that one in like that. That's with the small end, and then get your larger end, holding that one, and just gently come down, and there you go. And you can see if you just gently, you don't go too rough.
And you can come along a little bit. It's only plastic, so it will break if you get really rough with it. But if you're gentle, as you can see, it's all coming out. And this little thin bit in the middle, sometimes it's the hardest bit because it's very, very thin. And if you're going to break anything, that's where you break it. So be very extra specially careful. It's all released apart from that last little bit. And the temptation is to just pull it now, but don't do that. Try and get something in, because there's two clips just either side of this clip here. So if we can just get in off a little bit more. He's going to be a tight one, I can see it. You can see where he's held. Just going to try and bring him across. There he is, he just released one. A little bit more. Cool, he is tight. He is very tight. Ah, there he goes. So he's released. Now, that's the tight ones there. Hopefully you can see that. That's the tight ones now. That one there has obviously been broken at some stage. So we might try and glue him back on before we put it all back together. Make it fit properly. Then we have 4 screws to release. 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're Torx screws and they're size 20. Call them T20s. Okay, so literally screw 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's your 4 screws out. Then the unit will just lift. Remember, you've got a wiring loom behind, so don't start yanking it too hard. So we just want to lift them gently. And you will reveal the harness on the back left hand side. And there's a clip. Now the clip, I'm going to show you when I take it off. It angles upwards. Upwards, or is it downwards? It's upwards. And there he is. He's just come out. So that's your unit that is come out of. And there is the catch. So hopefully you can see that. Literally open, close. Okay, what I've done is I've connected a few bits and pieces up to speed up the install process, but I'm going to explain what I've done because you didn't need to see me connecting them. Now, I'm going to show you the back of this unit a minute. So you have this connector here, which we disconnected, which is that one there. That is your antenna. So that you connect that antenna harness to it. And you have that one there, which is this, which connects, that's your DAB aerial. And there is your DAB aerial connected. And then your final one, which is this one here, is your GPS. Now that is a new piece. You've got your puck. I've actually attached the puck up here because I don't want it in the dash, and it works. I've tried it in different cars and it does work. So that's your GPS puck. That DAB receiver there, you have to buy separately. I will put a link down below if you want to buy that. And that connects back into the unit via the USB harness there. So the final USB harness is this one here. That's just disappeared in the back. And that's the final USB harness, and that is actually going to a USB socket. So I've got actually in the car down here. So we've got lots of options for USB. Right, so the next thing is, let's take the unit out and show you how to connect it all together. So the next thing is we've got to connect this harness up to the main harness in the car. Now we've connected all the extra bits and pieces. Now you don't need to connect a DAB aerial if you don't want to. That's something I've done. And you don't need to connect the extra USB if you don't want to either. That's something else extra I've done. So the first thing is this is like on the back of the car stereo. So we connect them two together, pull them down like that. Make sure you've got them the right way round. I mean, it's not hard. You've got one large lump and two smaller lumps at the bottom. One large lump and two smaller lumps at the bottom. Put them together and they will just go in. Don't have to force it at all. And that clicks in place. And that is the first part of the wiring. There you are. It's clicked in place. And that is the first part of the wiring harness done. The next thing is we want to take the blue wire here from the antenna and connect it up to the blue wire there. Okay, these were connected, but I disconnected them just to show you and make it easier. So they were actually connected when I took it out of the actual pack. So that is pretty much the wiring harness complete. And there, we've had a look at that before, but I'll just show you it again. So that's where the GPS is going to go. So we got a little red protector on there at the moment. That's where our aerial is going to go. All our connectors, and they're all individual, so you can't get that wrong. If you look at them, you'll see every single one is different. So it becomes pretty obvious where they all go. So don't panic about that. So let's start putting them all back together. So I've connected everything up. You can see there I've got GPS is connected in, the antenna is connected in. We have all the various different connectors on the motherboard. That is pretty much a motherboard on the tablet connected. That one there isn't used, so don't worry about that if you think, oh my god, I've missed something. The black one goes there. All our connectors, we've got everything connected through. So the next thing we're going to do before we put it back in is test it. So we're going to turn on the ignition, and fingers crossed. Well, that's a good start, isn't it? That is a good start. We're going to let it boot up. Obviously the first time boot is going to be a little bit longer. So 1 second boot once it's been booted up. No tablet is going to be 1 second from air code. And there are. That looks very much like the one we got in the Chiron. So that's working. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to power it off. You can recognise the door, but you can see there's some setting up to do because it thinks the door is on the other side. So if I close it and open it again, there you are. You can see the door's open, but it thinks it's on the opposite side. So we know we've got to go through some settings yet. So the next thing to do is neatly and tidily put all the cabling back. Oh, I'm touching buttons. So we'll put all the cabling back and put it all back together. So there we have the unit back in. So the next step is just to put the 4 screws back in. Remember, they're Torx T20s. And I think you've got to agree that's a really, really easy install. There's nothing hard about that at all. And I know there's a protective screen on it, but I'm going to leave that until the very last. So there we are, that's in. I'm going to put that trim in, but I did say I'm going to glue it first tonight, so I'm just going to do that. And there's something I do want to show you before we go any further, is I talked about the rear reversing camera, didn't I? So we got this loom, and we got the camera. Well, this yellow lead will plug into number 10. You can see it's got a video input, the yellow connector there. So that would connect into the video input there. And if you wanted to have a front camera, which a lot of people do these days, you know, pretty much like a dash cam, but you could, some VWs can actually, I think you can get a VW badge, and I'm going to look for it, and I'll put it up here if I can find it. They do a VW badge that actually has a camera in it, and that would go into input 11. So then you could use the unit to record. So I think you would have to add some extra memory in this USB flash drive into one of the USB connectors, and I think that would work. And then all you got to do is you have to power this one, and you'll be fine. So that is how you do it. Obviously we can't do this because it's convertible, and I'll show you what I'm talking now. I'm going to be showing you a little bit of a video of why we can't put a camera in the rear of the car, but we'll have a look and see if there's any way we can do it any other way around the number plate, but we won't be doing that for the purpose of this video. But if you've got a normal type of hatchback, saloon, van, I think it'd be quite easy to do. Anyway, let's get back to the install. Right, I said I'd glue that back in place, and I've done that. So we're going to reposition that, and be very, very careful when you're fitting it, just the same as when you were taking it off. Now, personally, I would try and get this middle bit done first, so that's gone in quite nicely, and then work around. Just make sure it all clips in. If you do it gently, normally it's relatively easy. He says a little bit tight there, so it just lines up. Then you can feel around and you'll know if it's in. And there you are. That feels good to me. So let's boot up. Remember, it's meant to be a 1 second boot, isn't it? Let's see how quick it is. 2, 3. Well, the first thing to do is connect the unit to the internet, because obviously there's going to be potential updates to do. So I'll show you how to do that. You literally just click on, let's go right back. You pull down the blind from the top and you click on internet, and you select the network you want to connect to, and then you connect to your network. Hopefully you all know how to do that. You also have other settings there. You have Bluetooth, equalizer, screensaver, one-click cleaning, which is interesting. Restart the unit, which is sometimes quite handy. I've had to restart the unit when I've been driving. It's always nice to know where that is. Extra dim, dark screen, night light, color inversion, and a hotspot. So if we were to go into the equalizer, it's DSP equalizer, and you can see there you've got quite a lot of configuration. Now we're not going to quite go into that yet, because I want to go through all the basic stuff first. So hit the back button. Now on the bottom of the unit you've got power, home, back, and the volume. Now I've done nothing more at the moment than just connect the unit, so I'm going to just go to the controls on the steering wheel, And look at that, the volume works. And I've done nothing else. You've seen exactly what I've done. So it's talking to the steering wheel as well. We may have to do some more configuration to get other bits working, but that is not a bad start. If I was to hit backwards and forwards, that does nothing at the moment. That's okay. Something I want to talk about is the CAN bus settings. Now, I've had quite a few discussions with Eonon about the various different settings, and they all seem to give me the same results, and everything seems to be okay apart from the aircon. Now you can see the aircon is a button up there, and it comes up with this screen. Now sadly it doesn't interact with the car's unit, and I think this is more aimed at climate control rather than just aircon. In my own opinion, I think that's what it's about. So we're not going to worry too much about that, but if you've got a climate control on your car, I think you will be able to rig it up. Now, I have climate control on the VW Charan, and I actually have an Eonon unit in there as well. So I'm going to double check to see if it works on the Charan, and I'll include that in the video, which we'll come into that bit in a minute. See, I'm going to turn it down a bit. That's the difference. You get the dials at the bottom, you can see them change, but obviously this one's got climate control, so that is the difference. This car is a more basic sort of setup, I suppose, in the sense that it's got air conditioning, but everything is manually adjusted. There's no like microprocessor controlling it in the background. So we're going to move on. We're going to go through a few of the settings now and show you how we change some things. Now we're going to go back. I'm going to set up to VW EOS and in a simple CAN bus mode, and how we can do that, I'm just going to go right back to the beginning, and I think what I'm going to do from this point in is I'm going to start screen recording the game. Okay, we're back. I've installed X Recorder. There are adverts on the bottom, I'm afraid, but I believe with a short bit of research, it's probably still the best one I can find. So I'm going to press record there. 3, 2, 1. So we're now recording on the screen, and hopefully that's going to work, and you're going to see it up there rather than looking at this shiny screen, because it don't matter what you do in a car, it's always difficult to record. So we're going to go back now. We're going to go back to the app called Car Info, and we're going to reset to we're going to go to the simple settings, and we're going to use the Volkswagen EOS. It was in alphabetical order, wasn't it? There you go, Volkswagen EOS 2000 to 2016, all, and I'm going to actually use that particular model. So here we are, that's the model. Now I'm just going to open the door, and you can see the door is opening on the wrong side. So they've told me, so we go to vehicle settings, which we're in. Door window setting. And then F door, R door exchange. So we got the F door, front door, and rear door. There are no rear doors here, but it is. I'm going to do the rear doors as well, just to be on the safe side. And when I open the door now, you can see it's on the right side. So we've got that. As to the other settings, I'm just going to take you through them again, just so you can see what else is available in here. So we got driver safe, or drive safe. Now this is all to do with radars and that. Now newer cars would have this built in. We don't. Full view sight. So it's all down to the camera. We don't have left and right cameras and all the rest of it, so we're not going to worry about that. Door window settings we've done. Air conditioning we've talked about, and that's to do with the climate control rather than air conditioning. Function select. So this allows you to see across the top. So if I was to add general and confirm that, you can now see general has appeared there. So let's go back into settings, other settings, and this is an interesting one because driver's position on the right, I would have thought that would have changed the door opening, but it didn't. Outdoor temperature is not displayed. Now, I leave that so we can see the outside temperature. Instrument time is not synchronized. Well, we should synchronize it, shouldn't we? And can float menu. So we're going to stay with that. The last one is reset all. We come across general. It's got nothing in it. Status. Now that shows you got your mileage. Remember, it's in kilometers, and I don't at the moment seem to be able to get this to change to miles per hour, which is frustrating. But if I do find out, I will tell you. I've tried on 2 different cars now and I've not been able to do it. So we got all your vehicle settings there. Now, I did wonder whether we could just like go into it and maybe change it, but unfortunately it doesn't do anything like that. So you literally have what you see. And the last one is TPMS. Now, it doesn't communicate with the TPMS on this car, so it depends on the year of the car, really. Newer cars, I mean, this car's getting old now. It's 2011. It's an old car now, but newer cars, that will all work. Same with things like heated seats and that. You know, that all comes up on them, some of them. So, but there we are. That is the basic settings. Now I'm going to come back. We have the screen there, and you can add and remove shortcuts as you want. So if I was to say, for instance, hold down on that, I can remove an app. So if I remove radio, so then you have that option to add an app. So this little menu here that's appeared allows you to add whatever you want to add into there. Now I'm just going to be lazy and I'm going to put radio back in. So there you are. And when you hit the X, excuse me, someone's messaging me. When you hit the X, it takes it back to how it is. That little map there, it seems to be working better, but it's connected to my home Wi-Fi at the moment. When you lose the home Wi-Fi, then you have issues. I would suggest you go into your Google Maps and you download some local maps, and that will work better. Now, to do that, not part of this, but if you go into your maps, and we should be able to go into settings. And if we go down through there, you see offline maps. Select your own map. So I'm gonna try and make a bigger area. You can see there, that's as big an area as I can get in. So let's just drag it over as much as possible. Now if I down, that's 740 meg. So you've got to think about how much you're filling up your stereo with as well. But if I download that, now that will download, and I won't have to rely on maps, or I won't have to rely on internet access to be able to have maps in that area now. So you can see it's going to download over the Wi-Fi, so that will do it in the background now. So I'm just going to go back. So we're back to Google Maps, and you can actually see that's happening in the background. Now, down along the bottom, we've installed DABZ, we've installed Waze. I think I'm going to do a separate video on my favourite Android car launcher apps. And if you've got some, please tell me in the comments down below some of your favourites. And maybe I will include them as well. It's always nice to have people contribute to these videos. So we go back, go into the main apps. So as we look across, we can see a Bluetooth phone. We've not connected to Android Auto or Apple CarPlay yet. We will show you that in the very near future. You can have Bluetooth music, so we can connect to the phone and play music from our phone. I tend to prefer to connect by Android Auto or Apple CarPlay and then let everything come from the phone rather than it having a double sort of like install. So we won't worry too much about that. Although Waze and DAB, I like it to be on there just in case I haven't got my phone. For some reason you've jumped in and you haven't got your phone. So you got the standard Android sort of apps here. If you had a camera, that's where you go and do your camera. Your GPS, we can go in and have a look at our GPS there. So you can see that's how our GPS stands at the moment. So come with that, we got our maps. You can do mobile mirroring, change your panel colors. So depending what you want, you could, have the panel colors change, and that will be for night time. You got your Google Play Store, then you got your radio, you got your settings, which is the basic settings. This all takes you back into the Android back end, but so you can do your network, you can do your device settings, your personal bits and pieces here where you put your Google account. And I said earlier, but I really recommend it, do not use your own personal account on your Android car head unit. Set up a second account and make it part of your friends and family on your Google account, so you can have all your apps shared, but don't have your main account there. I really can't iterate that enough. System, so you can see how you can do system updates, and assembly, so you got steering wheel controls where you can set your steering wheel up, your camber settings. Now interestingly, if I go into camber settings, you go back into exactly the same program. So there's lots of ways of going back into the same bit of information, and that is it. So I'm now going to show you how to do the boot logo. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into our programs, go into settings, although we could have done it off the main one as well, and then we're going to go into system, and we have one there called factory setting. So we select that and enter the password 1234. Confirm that, and then we have a new menu. Some of this stuff you can actually get to other ways, but this one, logo setting, we need to be able to get in this way. So we're going to do a custom logo, and then we're going to look. I've already put the SD card in. Hopefully you can see my finger down there. No, it's not seeing it. There are bitmaps. Now I may have to go, and I think I've put in PNGs. Well, that's a little bit frustrating, isn't it? Okay, so we're going to come back to this one. Okay, we're back in the car, and I've just been upstairs to the studio, to my office, to my room, my loft room, whatever you want to call it. I've just been upstairs to actually have a look at these files that I've made earlier. Now, I prepared them in PNG format because that worked on the last unit, but this unit hasn't worked. So I've made some bitmap files, and hopefully this is going to work. So let's go back to where we should be. So we go settings, system, factory setting, 1, 2, 3, 4, confirm. So then we're going to go to the logo setting, and then we're going to go to the custom, go to our USB, and then you can see down here we got boot. I got a boot logo there, and the size in pixels is 1024 by 600. So there we are. We're going to select that boot logo. So we press boot logo, select confirm. Then let's see if it actually happens. So we're going to restart. So to stop recording on the screen now, I'll bring you right in. I'm going to press OK. Now it's a bit shiny and I don't know how we can get around that, but... And there you are, there's the boot logo. Now I did one in black and I did one in white. And if anybody wants a copy, please feel free to email me, and you'll see an email down in the description below and I will send it to you. So that works really, really nicely, doesn't it? So what I'm going to do now, although for all the settings, I've already made a video, and I'm going to put that video there now, so you can go there. It was for the, I think they call it the Eonon A13, I think it was called, which is on the Charan, but it's exactly the same unit, so there shouldn't be any problems there. So here comes the rain as well. What we're going to do now is I am going to do one last trip through the settings, make sure we've done everything, and then we're going to set up Android Auto, and we're going to set up Apple CarPlay, because I've got both phones here. And oh, that little guy there. All right, I'm just going to show you him. So we're going to select him, and it's like an AI that you can have on the head unit. I forgot to tell you about this. Let's go back home. If we go into our programs and we come across to topple voice and topple service. So if you go to topple service, and this is the chap. So as a basic service you can have, and I do apologise about the rain, it does seem to come in down quite heavily. And there's the voice. So it says to be activated. Now I've tried it a few times and selected voice activation, but it just comes back to voice to be activated again. But you say something like, hey top, play music. Don't want to work now, does it? Voice disabled. Let's turn on. I think we may have to pay for it. I do think we might have to pay for it. If we were to put that on the left, do you move? No, you don't. Anyway, you can play around with that if you so desire. Let's go back to the home. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set the screen recorder up one more last time, and I'm going to take you through all the settings. Right, here we go. So we've unboxed it. We've done a few bits and pieces setting it up along the way, haven't we? It's all been a bit disjointed because we've had a few little minor niggles. However, let's start from the very, very beginning, and we will go right through now and see what we can do. So first of all, here we are in the home screen. I'm going to hold my finger down in different locations to see if we get anything. So literally nothing there, but if you were to go into the maps, no. Oh, yeah, if you can bring up your GPS and bits and pieces by doing that. Along the bottom, we can add the apps that we want to use in there. So I'm going to take away video and Bluetooth phone. So we're going to come down through. Z-Links is the app we're going to use to connect to Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. Waze. Radio. And we want a DAB application as well. So there we are. That's the applications we want to add there. Quite neat and tidy. Next, we're going to go into the settings. This is the unit settings as opposed to the car settings. So here we have internet, and it takes you into the back end of the Android system where you can select your Wi-Fi, you see your save networks, or you can go into hotspot and tethering and you can set up a hotspot should that be what you want to do. But we don't have a data SIM on this, so I don't see the reason why we would do this. I do apologise about this rain. It's been quite wet the last couple of days, it really has. Device. So we go in here, and all this is going to take us back through to Android settings. So if we go into the apps, it takes you through to the apps. So you can see all the various settings. So it's all Android related bits and pieces you can do. So if we go into display, you can change the brightness of a display. So, you know, I don't know if you can see much really. Yeah, as you take your finger off, you can see it go down lower. So you pick a model that you want, or brightness that you want, and then you got the brightness model, so you can have it auto day or night. I like to have it auto, something you'll probably decide when you've been using it. Driver video warning. Now that is if you're playing videos on your screen. Suspension window, so that there would enable you to shut the unit down, I believe. Let's try and see what happens. Oh, that's interesting. So that gives us, if we give that one, we got mic, volume, power, home. Don't stay there very long though, does it? And back. That could be fairly useful if we wanted to, yeah. So we'll go back, power logo. That's interesting. Maybe a static power logo. And that takes us through to where we were changing our boot logo. So that's interesting, although that only gives us the standard unit settings, so we won't change anything there. You've got your font size, should you want it to be bigger while you're driving. So if we just have a look at that, say we want it a little bit bigger. So you can make your fonts bigger or smaller while you're driving. If you're anything like me, you probably want it a bit bigger because your eyesight's getting rubbish. And we come down through, and it is literally Android settings. So we're going to go back, and we got notifications, sound. Now in the sound, pay attention to this one, because this is sometimes where you'll be driving and your navigation won't be loud enough. So make sure your navigation is above your other sounds, and it will help you, because when you're driving, the navigation sound will cut across. Something I always moan about when we're driving, and I've forgotten to do it. Storage, that's going to show you what storage you got. You can go into the storage manager if you want to. So we can, but this is, like I was saying, all Android related settings. And then we got the navigation settings. Turn on auto run navigation, so you can pick your program. So I've got Waze, and then you could have it so Waze always boots up as soon as the head unit comes on. Not a bad idea really, especially in the UK with all the speed cameras and everything, because Waze does warn you about that. So think about that one. So that is all of device. Then we go into personal. Now, whitelisting. I've not quite worked out why we want to whitelist in here, but we can whitelist apps. And if someone can tell me why we're whitelisting apps, I'd be interested. Because everything works anyway, so I'm not sure on that one, but we'll come out of that. We have your Google set up, and as I've said earlier, please don't use your main Google account for your Google head unit. Should your car get stolen, someone can get into your account, can't they? Relatively easy, and that could cost you a lot of pain and misery. So set up a separate account, add it to your friends and family in your Google Play account, and the job's a good one. You then basically don't have to worry, because all the apps you buy on your main account will be available to that as well. Language is an input. We did that earlier. We set up the system language and how we want voice input and everything like that. Date and time. So there's just where you set your it's syncing to the GPS, and it's setting the time automatically. I think theoretically, as long as satellites stay in the air at the moment, we're going to be good. System. Do a system reset. I don't think we want to do that at the moment. System update. Now, upgrade file does not exist. We need a file from the Eonon website. Should there be an upgrade, should there be a system upgrade, you need it on a file, and you need it on a memory stick to do the upgrade. System info. So that takes you back into your Android system info, so you can see all about, you know, your MCU version, your app version, platform, tells you about the LCD, the CAN bus, all the information you might need to find out about there. And it's running on Android 14. And yes, I know that Android 16's out now, isn't it? But in a car, you don't really need to be that modern. I don't know if it'll make that much difference for the standard things it does. Factory settings, you saw that. We went into there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's confirm that again. So you got application, and you can see all the you can set your apps to do what you want to do. So whether you're using, you know, the various bits and pieces, you can see here voice control. So I will use a voice control, mobile link app. So I told you about Z-Link earlier, and all the various different pieces, radio settings, Bluetooth. So if I come up to Bluetooth, you can see the Bluetooth there. We don't need to play with any of that at the moment. So we come down to gain settings, and that's your microphone, and that gives you, depending whether you've got a microphone plugged in or a microphone that you're using there. I've recently taken to just using the microphone actually on the head units, because it seems to work really well, and you'll see how good it is in a little while, because hopefully we'll make a phone call when we've set up Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. So let's just go back. Display setup. So that's pretty much the same as we saw earlier, just presented in a slightly different way. We come down, we've got logo setting, which we went into earlier, the CAN bus, which we've set up earlier, other setting. In here we have switch to front camera after reverse. So if we add a reversing camera and a front camera, and we were in reverse, you'd have your reversing camera up there, and when you come back out of reverse, it would go to the front camera, should that be something you want. Is Bluetooth device name to to add a MAC address, the name, panel LCD LED control. So if we go in there, you can see, do we want the panel to change by the headlights, by the power, by the headlights and power? Now I have it on by the headlights, so if you turn on your headlights, it changes the panel LED. Black car volume reduction. Back car volume reduction. So we have it on strong at the moment. Selection of panel colourful lights. That's interesting. So what's it on at the moment? It's not actually set on any. So if we were going to have it in a VW, you're going to have it matching. So we'll have it on blue. Be interesting to see what it is. Your language settings, which you've seen there. Function password. Vehicle speed unit. Now, I said about this earlier that everything was reading in kilometers an hour. But you can see, I've changed it there. And it won't change it when we go back in a little while. Other settings, so you've got radio settings. And that sets up your FM sensitivity, your AM sensitivity, and your radio area. Now, if I just go in there, you can see I've got it set to Europe. They don't have a UK only, they have a Europe one. That's for your FM radio. And the last one is touch study. Panel, so that there, you can set up all your steering wheel controls. We'll come out of that, come out of there, and we'll come out of that one. So we're going to confirm that, just in case we've changed anything. So that was system, factory settings, we've done system info, passwords and accounts, exactly what we were telling you earlier on. That is where your Gmail account is set up. Come out of that. The last one, assembly. So we come across here. So this is where we can set up your steering wheel. So we can start to learn the different functions on the steering wheel. So you press begin learn and I'll start going up. And I need the ignition on, don't I, to be able to do that. Turn that one off. So I'll start pressing up. And there you are, you can see up. So press down. See down is working. What else can I do? Press the phone button. There you are. That's assigned to the phone. And you just work through all your different bits and pieces on your steering wheel until you're happy that you've got what you want. And then you select end learn and job's done. Then we come across radio settings. You can see there we've got RDS on, the sensitivities which we saw previously, and a tuner location, so it's just another location to be able to do that. Driver assistance video. Now this is the program that you would use for your reversing camera. We haven't got reversing camera currently, so obviously we can't use that. I'm just switching off the ignition. You see both seat belts aren't connected. Camera settings. We don't have a camera at the moment, so we can't set any of that up, but that's where you would adjust your camera settings. Panel LED control, yet again, so that's another location where you can change your panel LED control. And the canvas settings, and that's where we can go in and change our canvas settings, yet another place where we can do it. So let's come out of that one, and that's all of them within settings. So let's go back here. We're not going to do Bluetooth or anything like that at the moment. We're going to wait until we're ready to do Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Coming across, that's where you would set up your camera, your front camera if you had a front camera, but obviously we don't at the moment, so it's just going to display that icon saying we ain't got anything. GPS I showed you earlier. Mobile mirroring, you could have your phone mirrored, but we don't need to with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. You can set up your Netflix account should you desire to. Radio. I think we have pretty much shown you everything you need to see there. Now we're going to move on to connecting our devices. So what I'm going to start off with is I've got my iPhone here, and I am going to just go into my iPhone, and we're going to go to settings, turn the Bluetooth on, and then hopefully I am going to search for a Bluetooth device, and there it is, Eonon. Now we have multiple Eonon devices, so what I'm going to try and do now is I'm going to go into the Bluetooth, and you can see set Bluetooth, set local Bluetooth name. I am going to change that. I'm going to call it EOS Eonon. So let's see if I can. It won't let me go back with it, so we're going to have to. So we'll do it like this. EOS Eonon, and we're quite happy with that. And that's where you would change your PIN as well. For all intents and purposes, we'll just change it so you can see me changing it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bluetooth Auto Connect and Bluetooth Auto Accept. Now that's if you want your phone calls to automatically answer. Personally, no. So I'm happy with all that, and we're going to go into the phone now, and I don't know if you can see this, but you can see EOS Eonon is there. So I'm going to tell it to connect. It's going to ask me for that PIN number, which we just put in, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to pair. Sometimes this pairing does take a little while. There you are. So we've actually paired, because you can see it's actually come up and done that. Now it automatically knows this is an Apple device. So what it's doing now is it's connecting me to Apple CarPlay, and there we are. Job's done. So what we're going to do is we're going to call V. No, we won't, because I haven't got a SIM in this one at the moment. We'll do it when we're on Android Auto. So we'll cancel that for the minute. So that's how simple it is to connect to Apple CarPlay. We can see we're recording. I'm just going to go back to the home screen, and we're going to pair our Android phone. Again, going to put the passcode in, and they're going to allow, actually on Android, it asks you a few other questions. PIN contains letters or symbols. No, it doesn't. Allow access to your contacts and call history. Well, we'd want that when we're driving. So I'm going to say OK. So that's connected. So you can see exactly the same thing happening again, but this time this is Android Auto. And welcome to Android Auto. So we're going to continue. Okay, so we've got to do one last thing. So we've got to go to location on the phone. And look for maps. Hopefully you can see this. It's all a little bit sort of teaching you to suck eggs in some ways, I think. But I like to go through it all. There's maps. So we're going to allow, and there you are. Instantly, as soon as we do that, there's maps come up. And that is Android Auto all connected. And it is actually facing the wrong way. Does that matter? You can see houses there, and it's putting houses over that side. So I'm not quite sure what that's all about. We won't worry too much because I'm sure it will correct itself when it's driving. Well, so there we are. Install. How simple was that? You saw me do the install earlier in the video. Really, really easy. I think it's, you know, on a level of 1 to 5 skills levels, I think you're probably talking or 2 or 3. It doesn't take a lot. It just takes a lot of being confident what you're doing and paying attention to not forcing things. Simple as that. The looks of the unit. I mean, that looks factory, doesn't it? There's nothing horrible about that. It's not hugely encroaching on anything. It allows free access to everything that you need to access. The only thing I have a little niggle with, and I think this is with all touchscreens, not just these. If you're touching anything down the bottom of the screen, I'm just going to go into a program a minute to show you what I mean. So say for instance I got let's just open up YouTube. Not that I want to open up YouTube. Oh, can't connect to the internet. That's because it's trying to do it through my phone. And then you try to connect the bottom buttons. There is a tendency when you're driving to touch these. It can be a little bit frustrating, and I've often wondered whether they'd be better sat over there. And that's not just Eonon, that's with all head units. But that's me being really, really picky. But what a lovely unit. We've been out driving and the sound was amazing. It really was amazing. We went from we had a Q53 Pro originally in this car, then we went back to the standard VW unit, and then we went to this one, and the sound is really full. Sounds really good. You know, same speakers, but it makes the whole speaker system work that much better. Really, really impressed with that. Now, one thing I've not done, and I've just realised, so we're going to just go back into Android Auto, is I said I was going to make a phone call, didn't I? So before we finish, we will make a phone call. I'm going to... Hello, V, you alright?
Yeah.
Now, what does the sound sound like? You're actually on camera, so I don't know swearing.
It sounds absolutely fine. I don't know what you're talking about. I never swear.
Are you sure?
Absolutely. And I'm trying very hard not to.
Yeah, I can imagine, yeah. I'm just going to turn the volume up in the car a bit.
Really clear this end.
Yeah, it sounds really, really clear coming through the car as well. I'm very impressed. In fact, I think it's the best sound we've had in this car.
Yeah. And the other way around as well, it's really clear. It just sounds like you're on a normal speakerphone.
Fantastic. Well, that's brilliant. Well, I'll speak to you later. And
See you later.
Bye-bye. So there you are. That was the last thing to test, wasn't it? The sound of the phone quality. Obviously, when you're driving, you've got a bit of road noise and things like that. So that's going to change it slightly, but not immensely. Really, really love this unit. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and I'm not just saying that. I think everything about it works well. So yeah, what more can I say? Go out and buy yourself one, and there's a link down below, and it will take you along and give you a little bit of discount, I hope. I'm going to make sure that happens. I'm going to speak to Zoe from Eonon and make sure that she sends me a link so you can have a little bit of a discount. And that's it. So hopefully this video has been informative. It's helped you make a decision whether you want to buy a similar unit for your VW, because obviously this is not only just for the EOS. This is going to fit many different VWs like this. So you've got the Golf range, Passat range. We ain't got Bores anymore, are they? The Jettas again, I think. So there's a large VW range, but don't just shut yourself off thinking it's, Eonons are just for VWs. They do them for all makes of cars. So if you've got another type of model make of car, try it. We've got a Fiat Ducato based vehicle behind me, and Eonon, send us one. Anyway, guys, thanks for getting this far in the video and watching it all. We really appreciate it, and if you've really enjoyed it, give us a thumbs up. And there's a new thing down there called Hype, I believe. It's only there for a few days. I think it's the first 7 days of the video, so if you've watched this video when it's first been released, press the Hype button. It helps us. It don't cost you a penny. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. We hope to be doing lots and lots more of these type of videos. Like I said, I'm going to be doing a lot of launcher videos very soon, and I'm also going to be doing a video where I'm going to do the best apps for driving in your car. So if you've got a favourite app that you think I should know about, tell me down below in the comments. So for now, I think that's it. So thank you for watching, guys. Thank you, Eonon, for sending me the unit. Much appreciated, and we'll see you in the next video. Look after yourselves. See you very soon. Bye.